Hello, hi, and welcome to another episode of The Emma Gunn Show and a midweek instalment of Bullet Points, the shorter episode of The Emma Gunn Show where we catch up, we chew over what might have been happening this week. And I have three things that I want to bring up. The first is makeup. And actually, it's makeup and mood because I am finding it, and I don't know if anyone else is also in this boat, but I am finding the very dull, grey, overcast weather is presenting a little bit of a challenge when it comes to regulating my mood. I am finding myself tired, weary, far less energized, and a little sort of on days like today when it feels as though the sun hasn't fully come up and we are an hour from it being completely dark, which is just miserable. And yet yesterday was a day when it was so bright that it was almost impossible to walk around. I can't win. I'm obviously Goldilocks when it comes to this. But yesterday, for example, I was in London and I went for a walk in the morning around the park because it was dry, it was crisp, and it was sunny, which is the perfect conditions for having a wonderful stroll at, with a decent pace, to sort of think and get some fresh air. And the day before, I had to spend the entire day inside because I was waiting for a parcel. It was supposed to come between 12 and 2. There was no update from the courier, so I couldn't really go anywhere because I didn't want to miss them because I wasn't going to be in and there's no safe place, blah, blah, blah. They arrived at 8 and I just felt like I had the opportunity to go out just completely taken from me. I was very grumpy about it. So first thing yesterday, I was out for a walk, which was absolutely glorious. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Got a coffee, listened to a podcast. I was out for just over an hour. And it was bright. And at some points, it was almost like you just couldn't see because the sun is so low because it's winter. And it's so bright that it's almost blinding. And so then when I went into London, I had the similar thing. I was walking to the station. I was trying to cross the road. I was like, oh my God, this is really treacherous because it's so bright. Today, a completely different story. It's not even... it's just grey. I'm looking behind me if you're watching me on YouTube because even though the lighting is making it look bright outside, it is dreary. So it's actually quite a lot easier to film content inside when it's like this, because when it's really sunny, I have to choose my spots really well so it doesn't get the glare. If you watch my Instagram, I did a post about handbags, and in the lower corner, it looks like I've got some amazing filter on it. It's just that the sun that day when I filmed was so bright that it kind of gave this almost like very heavenly, pretty golden filter to the bottom, but it was just glare. But it was the best position I could find. Anyway, so this morning I woke up and I really was slow. And I don't know if anyone else is experiencing this, but I used to wake up at 6. I've talked about this many times on the podcast. I really do prefer an early morning. But I decided a few weeks ago, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this, I actually can't remember. I decided a few weeks ago, maybe even a couple of months ago, to just nudge my wake up time to 7 a.m. So I changed my alarm from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And actually, what I found is that sometimes I wake up, I'm also not the best sleeper. I either sleep very well or terribly. It's kind of one or the other. And I've sort of come to learn that if I do have a disrupted night's sleep, so if I do wake up at about 2 o'clock or if I do wake up at about 3 o'clock, I'm often so awake that I can't do the thing that all the experts tell you to get back to sleep. I have to kind of get up, move around. I might pick up my phone. I might put a podcast on. I might even put the television on, and I've got a setting on my TV where I can actually turn the screen off but listen to it. So that's quite handy. Anyway, if that happens, then I will allow myself to just kind of, when the alarm goes off, do I need to go back to sleep? Do I need to just lie here and sort of stare at the ceiling for a bit? And if that's the case, then I allow it. And that's what happened this morning. So at 8 o'clock, I thought, okay, right, I've had an hour. That's basically a lie-in. I'm going to get up, get moving, had my coffee, meditated, did some bits and bobs around the flat. And then I did a workout, really quite intense, quite excellent actually, lower body workout that was very challenging. I really enjoyed it. And what I've noticed is by nudging that wake up time a little bit later, I just thought I was kind of making life easier on myself in the first half of the day. But what I've realized is that actually I've stopped getting that mid-afternoon sluggish slump. And I know I said hydration has helped, and I definitely think it has. But I also think nudging, that wake up time has also been really helpful. I think the two combined have been magnificent, because actually when I do get into bed, I tend to fall asleep quite easily and quite quickly. It's just the wake up time can sometimes in the middle of the night can be a bit annoying. But I talked to you about mood and makeup. So this morning I did my workout and it was fantastic. I felt great. And when I feel like that, you sort of think that that will just snowball into feeling great, being productive, getting lots done. But I could just feel that if I hadn't made my bed, the temptation to shower and just sort of get back into it and read for work would have been too great. And so I did some bits, I did some emails, and then I thought I have to put some makeup on, and actually not just do it sort of accidentally or just sort of on autopilot, actually consciously think about putting on some makeup, because it will make me feel better. And I know I've said this before, but I do think it's worth repeating. If you are having a grumpy day, or if you are having a day where you just don't feel as energized, I cannot explain how either doing your own makeup or watching a makeup tutorial on YouTube, seeing somebody else transform themselves from sort of looking a bit tired to looking really well and as if they're about to go out, I cannot stress how much that, if I don't want to do it myself, if I'm like, oh, I'll watch a video, within 2 videos, I'm in the bathroom. I'm like, okay, right, I'm putting makeup on, and it's absolutely fantastic. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I have consciously I wore a Lisa Eldridge lipstick today, because I was like, yeah, it's going to be a day where I'm going to put on some really good makeup. So nothing too wild or anything, but I knew I was going to be doing some filming, and I thought I'm just going to take some care and attention. And it's really incredible how much that can change your mood and how much that can change your productivity. Now, whether it's putting on makeup or getting dressed or putting on a fragrance or something, if there is a sort of one of those things, if any of those things translate into you feeling a little bit more motivated, then by Jiminy, go and lean into them. And actually, I went to go and get a coffee at about 11, and the guys in the coffee shop, I was having a chat with them, and we were talking. We always talk about the weather because they've got this beautiful store, and you can see, obviously, sometimes they're blinded by the sun because of the angle. I tend to go in at a time of day where if it's really bright, they're quite blinded and they're like, oh, hello. Or obviously we talk about the rain. We're of that age now. But we were talking about the fact it was so grey. And I was saying, I would have come in here and sort of been a bit grumpy about 20 minutes ago, but I've just put some makeup on and I feel so much brighter. And we were talking about the restorative power of makeup. So I thought that I would share that with you because, hey, why not? Okay, let's talk about something else that I wanted. And I feel really silly talking about this, but I just feel as though if I've seen it, you've probably seen it and you might have an opinion. But it's the It's the Wicked press tour. It's all of the interviews and all of the attention on the Wicked movie, which I do think seems to be justified. It seems to be justified that this has been a real project that's taken a lot of time to bring to fruition. They've taken the decision to cast it very carefully, with Ariana Grande as Glinda and Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba. And it's obviously a play that people hold very fondly in their hearts. And I remember actually Caroline Hirons took me to go and see it a few years ago for my birthday, I think. I'm trying to work out whether it was for my 40th or whether it was the year after. I have a feeling it was my 40th, but anywho. She said, oh, you'll cry. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to cry. At the end of the first half, Defying Gravity, it culminates in Defying Gravity. I needed oxygen. I was hyperventilating, and she just very quietly passed me a tissue and started laughing because she'd seen it before, so she knew exactly what was coming. But you probably haven't been able to avoid the fact that Ariana and Cynthia are bursting into tears a lot on the press tour. People are saying, I really like this film, and they are just holding back tears. And it's like, fair enough. I have no idea what it is like to give, 3 years of my life to one singular project, and for it to be all encompassing in the way that is, and to put the effort into a piece of work in the way that they have. I can only imagine, but I can't for a second imagine what it must be like to work on a film set and to do what they've done. So they absolutely have my respect for what they have achieved, because in the few clips I've seen, it just looks amazing. But I was talking to Caroline yesterday because she called me. We were talking about various other bits, and she said, oh, I saw someone on TikTok say that they're theatre kids, let them have their moment, let them feel their emotions. And I'm like, yeah, but you and I have both spoken to scientists. We've both spoken to like surgeons who hold it together so much better, having done really quite impressive and major things than those two are about their performances in the film. And we were having a chuckle about that. So I want them to have their moment. I absolutely do. But it's almost funny in the wake of a massive a US election where there was this hugely upsetting result for people, upsetting for a lot of people because it was so unexpected. This close race was going to be won on the night, and then all of a sudden it's a complete landslide. Like, it's really shocking news, and how quickly we are just able to get involved in and stuck into. These two are a bit over emotional talking about singing on a film. I just find the news cycle incredibly amusing. And I wonder if you have, not just about the Wicked Press Store, but whether you've noticed that too. Have you noticed that the news cycle moves so quickly that it's almost as though you can't keep up? Like, 1 minute you're appalled and at a loss and at your wit's end about how things are turning out in the world. And then on the other, you're as invested in whether or not this is an appropriate amount of emotion to show when promoting a film. I think that on some level must be absolutely savaging our nervous systems. Okay, and very finally, this Bullet Points is going live on Thanksgiving in the US, which means that Black Friday is looming. If you are listening to this at the time that it goes to press, not goes to press, goes live. You can tell I used to work in publishing. Anyway, Black Friday is a very strange thing. I've just written a feature about it, and it used to be a sale that happened on the day following Thanksgiving. A little bit like a Boxing Day sale if you are a UK resident. You know the vibe. But this year, Black Friday feels very different. And I suppose this has been happening slowly for a while, but it does feel as though 2024 represents a significant change and a difference, that it feels different. And by that I mean that it's no longer a day. First of all, it used to be pretty much only America. Then some UK retailers got on board, and it was always the day following Thanksgiving. But I have seen for weeks brands having Black Friday promotions. Now, I have no I'm not bothered about that. That doesn't, I'm not offended by that in the slightest. But it does mean that it has become almost like a landmark in the calendar. And there are deals to be had absolutely everywhere. And I've been talking to friends about this and how, like, some items that are in a Black Friday sale today, for example, are actually more expensive than I saw them a month ago because they were already reduced. So some products that are in the sale get bumped up. And there's now this sort of fine print of may have been cheaper in some regional stores for 24 hours in the last 6 months. So basically what I'm saying is Black Friday, I think you have to take with a pinch of salt. If you were going to buy it full price and then it's cheaper, then wow, what a deal. But if you had no interest in buying it and then you decide to buy it because it's reduced in Black Friday, then you might be buying something for the sake of it. Buy cheap, buy twice. And if you didn't need it, you probably don't need it half price anyway. So all of that is to say, I have actually written a feature on my Substack because even though I do think that there are some retailers that will be slashing prices or trying to get your money before the Christmas stock comes in, and then they'll try and get your money for the sale price for that, or they'll try and get you to pay full price for that. And then when there's stock left over of that, that'll be slashed. So you buy that out too, just to clean their warehouses. So if that's something that you have felt sort of the pull of, let me know how you're getting on with that, because I must admit, I put this post up on my Instagram about handbags. Please help me find a handbag, because all I've got are crossbody bags and big bags, and I wanted something practical and beautiful. And I've actually filmed something today where I might have screwed this up. I did buy a bag, but it's not at all what I asked you to help me with. But if you're on Instagram at Emma Guns, go and have a look at that. But anyway, on my Substack, what I have done is I have written about the 3 brands retailers that I think are offering you something special. They aren't the kind of brands that do flash sales often. They don't reduce their prices very much when they do have any kind of promotion. Two of them I actually have never seen. Well, I've never seen this promotion before on two of the sites. And I have picked out, there are some sites I've bought from, and there are some sites where I've been gifted things, but I would spend my money on those things again. So I'm like, well, if you're going to get it now when it's reduced. So there are some brands who are using it in a way that actually the consumer wins. And I have picked my top 3 on a Substack. So I'll put that feature in the link. But I'm curious if you have been pulled into this Black Friday. Like I said about handbags, somebody mentioned a brand, I think they're called Low and Sons, L-O and Sons, but they're in the States. They have a really beautiful bag. I think it's called the Aoyama, Aoyama. And it's essentially a pouch bag with a really clever pocket on the seam for sort of popping a phone in. But it has 3 different straps. You can wear it as a long crossbody, a short crossbody, a shoulder bag, or a little pouch clutch sort of situation. And it's, for the first time ever, it's been reduced, and it's gone from being, I think, $200 and something to being just under $200. And I was like, well, obviously I need to get that, obviously. And then I had to have a word with myself and say, do I really need to get that? So I'm doing a lot of that at the moment of, oh yeah, and then, oh no. So are you feeling the pull of Black Friday? As a content creator as well, it's not just as a consumer, but as a content creator, a lot of brands are getting in touch saying, have you told your followers about this deal? Have you told your followers about that? And so you're kind of having to do sort of a double, assessment of whether this offer is any good. 1, as a consumer, but 2, as somebody who wants to be responsible about other people's money. Like, is this brand actually offering something special, or are they just offering something to drive, are they only offering a deal on the stuff that isn't selling, or that kind of thing? So I'm kind of going through this sort of vetting process on all of these offers at the moment. But as I said, the 3 brands that I've written about on my Substack, I think they've offered something really special. It's not very often, and I think I think that they actually are priced very reasonably anyway for the products you get. So the fact that there's 30% off one brand, 20% off another, and 25% off another, so they're pretty decent, like they're nice little chunks to come off. I think the fact that they're offering that is fantastic. So let me know what you think about Black Friday deals. Let me know whether you feel the pull, and if you've ever bought something that was really fantastic, or whether you bought something and you've never used it. If you're watching on YouTube, leave that in the comments below. If you want to chat to me and other listeners, you're probably going to find the best place for that is in the comment section on the Substack post. So I'll put the link underneath. And if you want to DM me directly, then it's at Emma Guns. And like I said, having just filmed a whole video about, I don't have a good handbag, I bought a handbag, and I need help. I need to know whether to keep it or whether to return it. So I'm posting something later today, which will be live if you're listening to this on the Thursday. So I am posting something, and I would really appreciate your input. So at Emma Guns, Substack, the link is in the show notes. And also if you want to email me directly, office@emmaguns.com. I've got quite a few emails at the moment, and I try to take good care and attention when responding to them. So I know that a couple of you are waiting, but I'm actually, hopefully, once this is all edited, etc., I'll have time to go through those. So you might even get a response before this episode goes live. So you might be listening to this having had a response from me, and that's if you've emailed me office@emmaguns.com. Anyway, this is a bullet points. It's only supposed to be short, and it's probably gone on longer than you were expecting. So if you are in the States and you are having Thanksgiving, please have a wonderful one. Oh God, that's made me have a hankering for some turkey and some cranberry sauce. And if you're not, and you're now browsing Black Friday deals, please do let me know of anything that you think I might have missed, or any deals that you think are unmissable. Let me know in all of the ways that I have suggested that we keep in touch. But they'll all be in the show notes or underneath this video, or wherever it is that where you're enjoying this. Please do get in touch. It would be so great to hear from you, and I will see you on the next one.